The System is a new psychological thriller play written and performed by my next guests on the Tea Time Sofa, Emily Head, and directed by Guy Unsworth. The production is being live streamed next week on the 27th of August and is an original theatre company production who are pioneers in the new hybrid art form of film and theatre. Emily and Guy met whilst working on the theatre production in 2019, and the chemistry between them promises a brilliant performance next week. Guy is a budding theatre director and has already directed a live stream with the original theatre company, Mr. Wickham, starring Adrian Lucas. Emily is best known for her roles in Inbetweeners, Emmerdale and The Syndicate. So let's find out more. Right, welcome to Tea Time with me, Ali Monjack. So Emily and Guy, you have having a busy day already by the sounds of things with rehearsals.
We have, yes. We've been here since 10 this morning. We're on our fourth day of rehearsals in the rehearsal space. So yeah, busy, very busy, fitting everything in before next week.
So is the rehearsal space not exactly where The System is going to be recorded then?
No. So we're in a rehearsal space in London this week. And then when we do the performance, we'll be at the New Wolsey Theatre in Ipswich. So we'll go there on Monday and start teching. And then Friday, the 27th, is the performance in the New Wolsey.
Yes, so exciting times. Now, this has come together over a period of time, hasn't it? So when did you start writing it? Because you've actually written it as well.
I have, yes. So I started writing it in 2019. I finished it in 2019. I sent it to Guy in 2019. And we said, oh, let's do it in 2020. And then 2020 happened. It's quite difficult to think about putting on a performance of something during a pandemic, as we discovered. So then, during 2020, we did a few Zoom meetings and some edits, and then it was at the beginning of this year, wasn't it, that you?
Yeah. Well, essentially, Emily and I worked together briefly in 2019. And
we did.
And I just thought she's such a good character actor and the sort of amazing ability to just change characters, and play them so believably. And she just has a really good ear for people, ear for people's voices. And I said to her back then, I said, do you write? And she said, yes, a little bit. and I just sort of talked myself into a job, and I just said, well, if you do write anything, can you come to me? So yeah, that's how I got the job, I think.
It's true. It is absolutely true.
Try that more with other people. But yes, it has.
A happy serendipity by the sounds of things.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely, very much so.
So obviously, Guy's inspired you to write this. I mean, it's quite a story, isn't it? It really is quite a story.
It is, yeah. There's a lot to it. Yes, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, are we allowed to give the whole plot away? I mean,
no, very much not. No. So basically, what we can say is that it's an hour-long crime drama in which 10 characters are being interviewed about the murder of someone that they all know, that they all have in common. And I play all 10 of those characters. I'm in an interrogation setting for all of the play, and speaking to the audience, what will to the audience be an unseen character, which will be a police officer. And that's about as much as we can talk about without spoiling it completely.
There's a book called How to Talk About Books You've Never Read. And I've always wondered whether that would be the way to sort of, not that I haven't read the play, but it always feels like there must be some very clever way to talk about the play that we can't talk about.
Yeah, that's true. We just haven't figured that out yet.
Yes. But it is. It's I can tell you it's a brilliant play. I can say that because I don't need Emily to talk about her own work, but it's really brilliant, and it's very, very clever. And I think to reveal too much about it would spoil it. So all I can really say is it's worth coming to watch it, because then you'll find out what it's really about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, of all the things that you've directed, Guy, I mean, is this been one of the most challenging in a way, since, you know, we've got Emily doing several different roles, or have you found that?
Do you know what it is? And I think what's, I don't know, I did wonder whether this is a bit of a post-pandemic thing, but I think I've certainly felt that coming back to work, having had a break for so long, I've sort of felt like, well, there's no point in, don't waste the opportunities. Don't, you know, if you're going to do something, do be bold with it, be brave with it. And so we approached this with quite an ambitious approach. And when I say ambitious, basically I put all the hard work on Emily and Ben, our camera operator. But I felt, you know, we've got to try and do something which is brave and different, and particularly to fit into this new hybrid art form, really, which is sort of half film and half theatre. So it is challenging, but I've given the challenge really to Emily and Ben, and I just sit and smile in the corner.
No, you've done very well with all the blocking, and also Guy has been instrumental in the early stages of editing. I think the play is definitely in a different place than it was even a year ago. So yeah, you're selling yourself short there. But
I mean, because it's not really how you wrote it, is it? It's not how you obviously envisaged it before we were all thrown into a pandemic. And I mean, you just couldn't have made it up, could you, really? What's happened?
No, absolutely. No, you're quite right. I had written it as a play to be performed in a studio theatre setting, quite an intimate studio theatre style. And then, yeah, as you say, the world changed quite dramatically, and I don't think any of us were expecting it really, or knew what would come out of it. But I think what has come out of it, as Guy said, is this kind of new genre almost of theatre film that isn't just someone putting a camera on a performance on stage. It's actually, we're integrating the camera within our rehearsals. And I think it's made theatre more accessible to people who weren't able to go to theatre pre-2020 for whatever reasons, geographically or physically, or I think, yeah, it's born something that is going to stay. I think it's quite important that it stays. And yeah, I'm really glad that the thing that I've written has been able to bridge that gap as well.
Because, I mean, you, Emily, as well, you have done screen, haven't you? And you've done plays. I mean, you've been in shows like The Inbetweeners, and, you know, you've done plays as well. So, I mean, how does it feel for you, the whole kind of hybrid thing? Do you feel that because you've had all that experience, it's perhaps, you know, just learning to culminate the two, if you see what I mean?
Yeah, I do see what you mean. And I definitely think it is. I think what we're doing here is quite different to anything I've ever filmed before. We're doing it on Steadicam in one hour long shot. So there are no cuts. There's no being able to go again. It's all live. So this is a completely new world for me. The world of hour-long Steadicam shots. But in terms of knowing how things will look on camera, I think maybe I have a kind of rough idea. But yeah, this is completely different, I think, to anything I've ever done.
Absolutely. And, you know, we all have a challenge, don't we? I mean, that must
absolutely.
It must be a great challenge. And obviously you've got Guy at your side who is basically bringing it all home and directing it all. So yeah. So do you think you're going to be ready next week to actually go?
I mean, I very much have to be. It's going live. There's no, should we postpone it for a week? But yeah, I think so. We had Ben Ely, our camera operator, in today. So we were working through everything with him and blocking with him and kind of making sure that the choreography of me and Ben in the space is going to look aesthetically pleasing and interesting, but also that we're not going to crash into each other, or that I'm not on camera when I'm not supposed to be. So yeah, I think, as I say, we have to be ready, but we will be.
Well, one of the biggest challenges is that it's not the sort of thing that you can just say, well, we'll try it 3 times in a day and make sure that we get, you know, one take that works. Ben is basically spending over an hour with 65 kilos on him. So it's a physical feat, to say the least. You know, it's a bit like asking someone to do a marathon. You can't just say, oh, we'll do one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So yes, I think we will be ready. We'll be ready to take it on. But it's also, it's a big risk.
Yes.
But an exciting one.
So
as well.
I kind of envisage lots of gaffer tape everywhere and sort of, am I right?
Well, there's gaffer tape at the moment. There's gaffer tape on the floor to kind of mark the space. But when we're in the theatre on stage, we will just sort of be governed by the space of the set around us. And yeah, just hopefully not bang into each other. We'll be fine.
Obviously, you're familiar with the space at the Wolseley Theatre already, are you?
I've actually never been to the New Wolsey. So I've seen photos of it. Although I think maybe I was there when I was younger, when it was the Wolsey Theatre, but I think it's all changed quite dramatically since then. So yeah, I have no idea. I'll find out on Monday. I'll find out.
Yeah, brilliant. So, and I mean, you, Guy, are you used to working in theatres as such, or more film?
No, very much theatre. My sort of first foray into, it's not even film, but into this hybrid world was with a production only a few months ago with Original Theatre Company, who we're doing this with, and that was it was a baptism of fire. But it's really exciting. But I'm really interested in this idea of bringing the theatre to the screen. So not in any way attempting to say, you know, I'm a film director. I'm absolutely not. I don't have that sort of background of work, but just the idea of how we bring a live experience and how we bring a theatrical experience for the sort of ultimate consumption through a screen, I think is a really interesting challenge.
Yeah, it sounds like it is as well. And, you know, what an amazing experience for everybody. But it is very much a sign of the times, isn't it? Because, I mean, you know, since we were locked away as well, I think we've spent an incredible amount of time doing videos and doing that type of thing. So to be sort of, you know, the sort of cutting edge of the hybrid theatre film situation, it is, you know, you're sort of like the pioneers in it, aren't you, really?
Well, I mean, that would be very flattering. Cool pioneers. But I think it's something that we're in a place now where, with the technology we have, it's something that we're able to do, and it's quite an incredible thing that has been brought out of quite a difficult year, obviously, that people didn't just wait until we could get back to what we had deemed normal before, that they saw the challenge and saw the need that people still had for live theatre and figured out a way to do it.
And I think if anybody was one of the pioneers, it was Original Theatre Company. They seemed to be ahead of the whole game. And I think this is now the real test, this period of time where theatres are opening back up, people are moving around much more than they were. Is this market there, which we think it is, and but equally, I think the work has really got to earn its place there, and to earn its place as its new genre and new art form.
Right. But I mean, you know, the play that you've written, Emily, The System, seems to sort of lend itself to this new art form, would you say? I think it sounds like it does, more than maybe, say, you know, a production of Midsummer Night's Dream or something.
I mean, sure. I think this because it's quite it's not a standard play. It's not a two-hander or with a larger cast even. It's already quite I don't want to use the word experimental, because it isn't experimental, but it is something that kind of challenges what you're normally used to seeing. So I think in that respect, you buy into the fact that we can have this camera roving around the space, which again is something that we're not really used to seeing. And at some points it will be from the point of view of the police officer, and at other times it will just be taking in the scenery, not just taking in the scenery, but, you know, seeing it from a different perspective. And so I think in that sense, it does lend itself to the new genre, the hybrid, as it were. But I think you can make anything work for theatre film or online theatre. I just think you need a director who is willing to take that on and passionate about it. And I think anything can be brought online.
Yeah, no, definitely. It sounds really exciting. It really does. So, good luck with it. Break a leg, as they say.
Thank you.
In show business. So it also means for you guys, well, that you'll probably find yourself doing a lot more of this, won't you, as a director?
Well, I hope so. I mean, I really do enjoy it, and it's holding on to. I think it's in some ways it's a celebration of theatricality and knowing that can live on not just in theatres, but that it is it is something that can be delivered to to you in your living room, and I'm really enjoying exploring that. And I just I have to say it is genuinely fun working on it, and hopefully there's going to be more opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, that's absolutely brilliant. Just one last question, Emily. Where did you get your inspiration from? Is there anybody writer-wise that you just always sort of thought,
one of my favourite playwrights is Martin McDonagh. Not that this is in any way a Martin McDonagh style play, but I very much like his work in that there are quite difficult scenes that you're watching, and then someone will make a joke that will either make the other characters laugh, or someone will make a joke that they don't think is funny, but we as the audience think is very funny. And I do enjoy that kind of breaking the tension. I think it's something he's very good at. Not that I've particularly tried to do that in this, but it is quite an emotional play at some points, and I have played around with where you break the tension for the characters and for the audience, but it is worth saying, not in answer to your question, but it is worth saying that for any of you who would want to see this play, there are potentially some triggers, but you can find out about them on the website originaltheatreonline.com under the system. However, the triggers do contain spoilers, so if you want to find out the triggers and you don't mind the story being spoiled, absolutely read it, but please don't spoil it for anyone else.
Murder, mystery, suspense. Definitely. It really does sound brilliant. I'm definitely think I'm going to come along and watch. Watch. Through the internet, I shall come along and watch.
Yes.
Oh dear, that's absolutely brilliant. So it sounds like your partnership is like a match made in heaven. So do you see future productions together?
Oh, who knows? She might not work with me again.
I would definitely work with Guy again. He might not work with me again. Yeah, true. Yeah, let's speak after Friday. No, I definitely think so. It's been a joy to work with Guy from beginning to end. And as Guy said earlier, we worked together very briefly in 2019, and not for as long as we would have liked to. So yeah, I definitely think we'll be doing something else after this.
Brilliant. Can I ask, because I'm not sure, what was it that you met each other? What were you working on at the time?
There was a play that we were working on that didn't happen. So it doesn't matter what it was called. But it was something that got pulled at the end of 2019, I think.
Yeah.
And so we did get to spend a bit of time working together.
And we were really just having such a good time. It wasn't a one person play, but it was such a good cast, and it was we were just having an absolute ball.
Yeah.
So it's always felt a little bit like unfinished business. So I'm so glad that we've finally got the chance to actually put something on.
Brilliant. No, that's brilliant. That could be the title of your next play, Emily.
Definitely.
Lovely. Well, thank you for coming on Tea Time today, and very best of luck with it. And I look forward to actually having a watch next week.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Cheers. Look forward to chatting with my next guest on the Tea Time sofa this time next Saturday. In the meantime, if you would love to get in touch about having a chat with me, you can reach me on teatime@forthenow.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram on Tea Time with AM. Bye for now.